Well, just when you thought tweezing your eyebrows was standard practice, Sarah Marie Clark from Denmark says just tweezing one eyebrow is more than enough, ladies. Now, this is not some cockeyed beauty scheme. Sarah said, I've always known that I was able to grow a monobrow, but just like everyone else, I always removed it without really thinking about it. I didn't think it was an option to keep it. But since Ms. Clark has let her impressive unibrow grow out naturally, she's landed modeling jobs. And she claims that men can't get enough of her look. One guy sent me a message, she said, saying that he would do anything to meet and date me because of my unibrow. Really? Well, I say good for her that she's getting lots of date requests. It just proves that we men are not as monolithic in our dating desires.
You know, Governor,
what, Keith?
I had a cousin once that used to skip shaving all winter.
Really?
Now, after a month, she was able to convince people she just wore leggings because it was cold out. But nobody ever bought that story that only her armpits were from Europe.
Okay, friends. While a lady with the unibrow might not be the perfect date for everyone, I say here's to Ms. Clark embracing the brow and wearing it proudly. And when she raises her eyebrow, people know she's surprised. Yeah. And there's probably more to the story, but I don't want to browbeat the audience with it. I'm not going to do it. So let's move along. Dateline Atlanta, where a man broke into a Taco Bell and proved that he didn't know beans about burglary. Rather than making a run for the border, he was caught on surveillance video turning on the fryer and cooking himself a big Taco Bell meal. And he didn't even make his order to go. Now, after dining, he did what any smooth criminal would do. He fell asleep on the floor for 3 hours. Then after stealing some shut-eye, he also stole a laptop computer, a tablet, and I assume some toilet paper before fleeing. Police believe that he may have worked at Taco Bell before. Hey, Trey, didn't your doctor tell you to actually eat more Taco Bell?
Well, actually, he said eat less McDonald's, but I'm pretty sure that's what he meant, something like that.
I'm sure that's what it was. Well, in other Taco Bell news, because of the tight labor market, Taco Bell is actually offering managers up to $100,000 a year at some of the restaurants. Hey, if you throw in free food, a laptop computer, and a place to sleep on the floor, I think I know the perfect guy for you. In automotive news, a Colorado man's Jeep was making a funny sound. His mechanic discovered that a fuel injector plug had been chewed in half by a squirrel that somehow squeezed under his hood. So it got fixed, and the next day, a squirrel chewed it in half again. That got fixed. Then another more expensive part was eaten by a squirrel. You know, I always thought that a smart car was the only car with a squirrel under the hood. Well, the Jeep owner tried putting mothballs in the car. All that did was keep moths out of the fur of the squirrels. Then he tried noisemakers and strobe lights, but the squirrels just opened a disco under the hood of his car. So the owner finally climbed a tree next to the Jeep and pretended to be a 3/16 nut. Did you get that, Keith?
Yeah, sorta.
Okay. Trey, make sense to you? 3/16 nut? You know, kind of like a...
I'm still trying to figure out the last joke.
Okay,
I'm
got it.
Positive.
You guys are of no help at all. Now, I haven't heard the results yet, but let's hope he doesn't wrench his back while he's up there catching squirrels. Definitely moving on now. New research in from the Journal for the Scientific Study of Religion. Churchgoers are less likely to own a cat than atheists are. Well, as a dog owner and a Baptist, I proudly resemble those research findings. Now, an academic expert recognized that owning a pet replicates some of the benefits of joining a faith community. Now, I want to pause here because I'm not too sure about that. I've never had to walk a fellow church member or help them cough up a fur ball. And definitely never had to do any housebreaking or empty litter pans at church. I've never done that. But the study of more than 2,000 Americans noted a strong negative association between worship attendance and cat ownership. I know I'm losing the cat owners who are our viewers right now, but I'm just telling you what the study reported. But it would seem that catechism and the Catholic Church would totally blow the research out of the water. Now, I will confess to interacting with churchgoers who remind me of cats. You know, they want to interact with you, but it's always on their terms, and it's always about them. I just wonder if this study took the late atheist Christopher Hitchens' thoughts on pets into play. He said that if you provide a dog with food and water, it will think you are God. But if you do the same for cats, they end up thinking that they are God.
Governor.
Yes, sir.
We're both dog lovers. I don't know if we've ever discussed this or not, but did you know why cats are such lousy dancers?
I don't know.
Because they have 2 left feet.
That makes perfect sense. Yeah. All right, enough of this crazy research and Keith's bad jokes. I do hope that whether you have a dog, a cat, or no pet at all, that you will find faith and friendship this weekend at a local church. It really is good for you. So there. Now, before we close, I thought those of you who are lovers of art would enjoy a quick tour of some of the more unique statues that you will find all over the world. Like this modern statue I like to call Baby Attack. Look at that one. Or here's a practical working statue, a bench being devoured by 2 hungry fellows at lunch. And then who could forget the statue of 2 businessmen getting kung fu-ed? Or the famous moment when Benjamin Franklin showed Thomas Jefferson his cell phone invention. And finally, you got to appreciate a statue that gets tired of people climbing on him and just gives them the boot. Well, just like Clemson after playing LSU for the national championship, we got to get out of here. But always remember, we read the news. So you don't have to. Now, if you want more videos like that one, hit the subscribe button below and the notification bell right next to it. And if you leave a comment, positive or negative, I'll be sure that my dog Toby sees it and responds to you in kind.